Good morning, geeks. With the release of the Magic Farm Skyblock map, I've been getting a whole bunch of questions regarding how to start out with it, because unlike a regular Skyblock, the starting process for this is completely different. So, I'm hoping to sort of stop the questions and just create a simple tutorial for you guys to follow. Now, first off, if you are using the pre-release versions, there's a couple things that you're probably going to need to do. First, check in your inventory and make sure that in the top left-hand corner that you have daylight and rain enabled. Rain is actually going to become very important. Also, when I got this pre-release pack, I was set to creative mode. You want to make sure that you're set to survival and not adventure. Did that once. It was a little bit weird. Then we're going to start by just disabling the cheat mode altogether in order to make sure that we're not accidentally spawning in items or anything like that. So, this is probably the preferred way to play. Then let's look inside of our chest. We got a variety of saplings to start out with. The first thing that we're going to need to do is start farming trees and grinding trees, in fact. I'm going to suggest using just the oak saplings and maybe one stack of bone meal to start out with, because oak saplings are going to actually give you food, unlike other saplings. After you get your first tree, I would stop probably by leaving this last log in. During the early parts of the game, saplings are going to be very, very important. So, you want to create a crafting table, and you want to get a crook. A crook is something that allows you to get a lot more saplings out of each one of your trees. So, with this, we're going to start planting more and more oak saplings in order to increase our farm. In addition to getting extra saplings, the crook has another effect of potentially getting you silkworms, which you're going to need later. So, just start doing a little bit of grinding. Seeing as leaves and saplings are so important in the beginning, I'm going to actually space out my dirt so that when everything grows, they actually don't overlap with each other. But also, at the same time, things don't fall off the edges or anything like that. So, let's go like this. Oops. I have already done this in another world, so I'm going to be going through it a lot faster than maybe I should. I apologize for that, but let's go ahead and do this. You probably want to have every single piece of dirt with a sapling growing, even if you're only using one tree with bone meal at the time. The way that trees work in Minecraft now, the longer they're around, the sort of more growth ticks they have. I believe there's like multiple stages of saplings or something like that, and they progress through those stages before they actually grow into a tree. Alright. Another thing that is different about Magic Farm is that you can't actually make wooden tools. Right now we are going to increase how fast we can farm our wood and trees by making an axe and sort of the beginning set of tools. So, in order to do that, we're going to use the flint that is in the chest. Magic Farm has a mod called Tinker's Construct, and a little add-on to make it so that not all of the things in Tinker's Construct actually work, or work the way that they would normally. So, as a result, we're going to need another crafting table. As a result of that, you are going to want to try to do it this way, or do your tool crafting this way. First thing we're going to need is a part builder. Second thing is a tool station. third thing is a stencil table. We're then also going to need a couple more stencils for the different kinds of tools. And we're going to just place this around. So I have things set up: stencil table, part builder, and then tool station, because that's kind of the way that you progress through things. The first set of tools that you're going to need are your pickaxe, your shovel, and more importantly, your axe. Let's go with the tool binding. You need a tool binding in order to actually make your pickaxe. We're also going to need a little bit more wood. At the moment, I only have one, and we're going to need multiple sticks in order to make our different tools. So every single leaf, we're going to want to use our crook. One thing to keep in mind is, by default, this pack is going to come at hard difficulty. And by hard, I mean when you starve, you don't necessarily start losing health or anything. You are just going to flat out die the second that your hunger bar falls below its last little haunch or meat stick or whatever it is. Go ahead and do this. I'm gonna plant the rest of our saplings so they're growing while we're working. And let's make all of our tools. So we got a flint head, shovel head, and axe head. And the tool binding can only be made out of wood. We can't make it out of flint. Probably wouldn't want to anyways, because there's no real benefit to it. And we're going to need some extra sticks. Alright. So if you need to know how to make your tools, you can just select each tool from the left-hand side and put the items that fit into the places into their proper places. So that's our pickaxe, our axe, and our shovel. Probably not going to use the shovel too much, but I like just having it around. You're probably not going to need a sword to start out with unless you start destroying the glowstone and making mistakes or building off into islands that you probably shouldn't be and spawning monsters there. Everything is lit up by default. Actually, I'm going to leave these here for now. So, you also want to be a little bit sparing with your bone meal. You definitely do not want to use up all of your bone meal. If you use up all of your bone meal, you're going to end up not being able to progress unless you get more trees. I'm not going to actually worry with the large tree, seeing as we're recording. But that is actually a very lucky thing to get, because that means a lot more saplings than you would out of one of these trees. Alright. Also, the next thing that you're going to need, now that you've actually used your crook enough to get a couple pieces, or a couple silkworms, is some string. So, let's go ahead and start the process. Once you get a silkworm, you can right-click on a leaf, and it will infest that leaf. If we look at it, and at the top there, it says it's an infested oak leaf. What that means is there's a silkworm working away inside of these leaves in order to make silk, which in terms of Minecraft means make string. This leaf will slowly get whiter and whiter and whiter until it actually starts to infest other trees near, or other leaves near it. After a while, this whole oak tree will be completely white, and then we'll start to harvest from it, or we can harvest from each leaf as it turns white. But harvesting from it right now would be a bad idea. If you are going to put silkworms in your trees, keep in mind a couple things. If you destroy these saplings, or if you destroy the leaves, you're not going to get any saplings from them. So you don't want to let your whole sort of forest get infested. Otherwise, you're going to have a problem. So, let's see. I think at this point, most of it's going to come down to grinding saplings. The next thing that you're going to need is a barrel from Ex Nihilo, which you can craft using your slabs and some wood. As you sort of progress through this early stage, a lot of what you're going to be doing is going to involve getting dirt. In order to get dirt, you need to compost it. You can compost dirt by just putting 8 saplings into an oak barrel, and it will slowly progress and dry out, and then you'll be left with dirt. Once you have dirt, you're going to need to sort of hold on to it for now until we have something to sift it. Alright, so after you put your silkworm in the leaves, they'll slowly start turning white like this. And when they're about this white is when you can start harvesting them. So, you're not going to get drops every single time, but let's see. Maybe they're not ready yet. Oh, there we go. So you can start harvesting them, and every so often you're going to get string out of it. If you really want to know when your tree is done and when to start harvesting from it, you can just let it turn completely white, and you'll kind of notice when there's no progression and every leaf looks the same. I'm going to slowly grind away at these trees here, and I'm going to come back once I've got enough string. You're going to need about 18 pieces. Alright. So after a little bit of work, we've collected enough string from the different trees, and we can now create silk. Silk mesh. Silk mesh is going to be required in order to make our sieve. So, in order to make our sieve, we want to do this recipe. And this is going to be our first step in terms of getting cobblestone and eventually getting lava, seeing as no lava was provided for us. You can take you can take dirt and use it inside of this sieve in order to get different resources that you wouldn't normally be able to get. So, in this case, for dirt, we right-click on it a bunch, and the dirt level slowly progresses, dirt particles come out the bottom, and after a while, it pops off, and sometimes you get random seeds, random saplings, but very more importantly, every single time you do this, you get a couple pieces of stone. Stone is used in order to make your first bits of cobblestone. You're going to need cobblestone to make a furnace, as well as a couple other very important sort of things. So I'm going to keep grinding away and collecting a whole ton of leaves, and then we'll be back once we have enough stone in order to start making our furnaces, or our furnace, and a very important tool, our juicer. So a quick thing that we can note as I'm getting ready to grind here is that I'm kind of running low on food. In front of us we actually have a water pool, which we can start using to fish if we really get down there in terms of hunger. Like I had mentioned before, hunger in this pack, as soon as you get low, is going to instantly kill you. Now, fishing from a one-deep pool of water is very difficult, so you probably want to make some adjustments to it in order to make it a little bit easier on yourself. So, when I did it, I kind of dug out the bottom at least one so that my hook stopped getting caught against the bottom, and made it so that it wouldn't get caught on this lip as frequently. So, I'm just going to stand back here with our fishing rod. And try to catch something. This proved very effective in terms of keeping myself alive. And you want to make sure that you guys know how to fish. Why am I explaining this? Just wait until we catch something. There we go. You can eat fish raw in order to get like half a hunger bar back. I don't know, you're going to be fishing for a little while to find what you actually want. And also another note, maybe you don't want to grow the hop saplings. I wanted to plant it around just to see what it would grow. I don't know, I guess it's very low to the ground, lots of leaves. Maybe it'll be effective, I don't know. Did that actually produce... Hey, this produced extra dirt. Never mind, get hop saplings. They seem to produce dirt for some reason. So, after grinding away for a long period of time with your saplings or using the hop trees if you were lucky enough to get those, you're going to end up with your first kind of point that you want to stop at, which is going to be 11 cobblestone. We'll save this extra stone for later. At 11 cobblestone, you're able to make both a furnace and a juicer, which a juicer is going to be very important, so I'd suggest getting that before sort of worrying about anything else. All of this is slowly working towards getting lava in order to actually start generating cobblestone the way that you're probably familiar with water and lava. And so we're just going to wait here. Let this stone cook. This one here is going to get turned into a pressure plate. And this one is a piece of stone. So, creating the juicer is a little bit weird. You actually have to put the juicer in the right-hand corner of your crafting table. Otherwise, it's not going to actually give you a recipe at all. Just a weird problem with PAMs. So, we create the juicer. An apple, when you eat it, is going to give you half a hunger bar with the mods installed. An apple juice is going to give you twice as much. It's going to give you a full hunger bar. So, hopefully that will help you not to starve to death while you're waiting. The next part of this whole process is going to involve grinding gravel and dirt and everything like that. First thing we want to do is make a piece of, a hammer, to make a piece of gravel. And hammers are kind of interesting. They kind of work like a pulverizer. So if you break a piece of cobblestone with your hammer, you're going to get a piece of gravel. And we're going to want to continue this process to get sand, followed by dust. Each one of those processes can be sieved, but you're probably not going to want to do that just yet. We want to stop at dust, and so in order to make clay. So, I'm going to get a couple more pieces of dust, and then we're going to wait for it to rain. We're going to need to make a couple more barrels as well, so I'm going to set things up for the next time it starts raining. Alright, so for the next step, in terms of progression, you're going to need about 3 dust and barrels that are filled with water. Rain will fill the barrels perfectly fine and seems to work. So you combine that water and that dust and you end up getting clay. You then need to put the clay on the ground. Use your shovel for probably like the first time. And now you can start making things like your first bucket for moving water or lava around. And also you can make your crucible. So we're going to make both of those. Like I mentioned before, you need to save at least a few pieces of your bone meal in order to make porcelain clay. Porcelain clay you can use to make your unfired crucible. And then you need to put both of these things through your furnace here. You're going to be using this crucible in order to make lava, mainly. So, let's go ahead and do this. We got crucible. Let's put our... Oops. I hate that. I hate accidentally clicking on the recipe there. And a bucket. Now this next process actually is going to take you ages, probably. But you can take your crucible, put it on top of your furnace, and while you're doing something along the lines of like making charcoal or whatnot, you can put cobblestone into your crucible to create lava. So I'm going to come back when I've actually got enough wood to start making some charcoal, and also enough cobblestone to start making that lava. Alright, so we've got our wood creating into charcoal, which is something that we're going to need later on anyways, so it kind of makes sense to do these two tasks at the same time. And we're going to fill this crucible with cobblestone. Now, if you look at this very closely, you're going to notice that slowly the level of cobblestone is decreasing. That's because as the cobblestone melts into lava, the volume is actually a little bit less. So, you're actually going to need to fill this thing with more cobblestone as it decreases. Eventually, you're going to start getting some buckets of lava. Now, a clay bucket is only capable of moving lava once before it breaks. So, be careful as you right-click on this a couple of times to try to get your first bucket of lava. If you don't really want to micromanage a furnace as you do this, you can also use a torch underneath your crucible to slowly melt the lava, but that might take twice as long as doing this. And like I said, you're going to need charcoal later on for torches and for running your furnaces and whatnot, so you might as well do that. So, once we have our lava, I will come back and I'll show you what we're going to do with that. And I'll show you a good design for a cobble generator if you need one. Alright. After feeding this in cobblestone for a little while, it seems like it's just about ready. Now, if you only made one clay bucket, you're probably going to want to move the water before you start moving the lava around. Because, like I mentioned before, lava is going to destroy your bucket. I dug out a little bit of the platform back there, and we're going to use that in order to make our cobblestone generator, our first cobblestone generator. I'm going to build a 5x5 wall to start out with here. And this is just going to be sort of a Y design. So, got 5x5. And kind of make a Y. Like so. And on the left-hand side or right-hand side, we're going to put one of each liquids. So, I'm going to go ahead and put water in the left and lava in the right. We're going to need to get a little bit more stone. Kind of underestimated how much this is going to take. So, just going to mine up this platform. And I'm going to try to just get the bare minimum for my design. You can make yours as fancy as you want with, like, glass in front or something like that. Alright. Now, in front here, we are going to need some signs to prevent the water or lava from flowing towards us. So, we've collected so much wood at this point that couple signs are not going to be a big deal. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to put one sign here, put WFS on it, and put the second one, and then we're good. We're going to need a little bit of water. Unfortunately, I took the bottom part out, so it's not an infinite water generator. And we're going to put our water in. Water, you actually get the stuff back, or you keep the bucket. If we use lava here in a second, it's going to destroy it. So, just do this. And it was supposed to go one lower, but no big deal. And now we can just stand here and mine cobblestone. Now, if you really want to mindlessly collect cobblestone, it'd be a good idea to also, in the back, put a crafting table. Just so that when you break through, you can just hold without breaking the block or anything like that. A crafting table is not going to get mined through with a pick. Now, at this point, you're where you probably know what to do. The only things that are a little bit different is, in order to progress into different resources, what you're going to need to do is start working with your hammer on cobble in order to sift. So we're just gonna collect a couple pieces of gravel, and I'll show you how to process the resources that you get from sifting. So if we do this, just right click a whole bunch. Wow, we got emeralds first time. Emeralds is supposed to be a rare drop. So we're gonna just keep sifting gravel. As you sift gravel, you're going to get these broken pieces of lead. I'm going to come back as soon as I've got 4 of those and empty our inventory of some of this stuff while we do that. So I'll see you guys once I've got a couple of resources. Alright, I processed roughly a stack worth of gravel, and as a result we have all these goodies in front of us, which I'm probably not going to be able to pick up too many of them, but this is a tutorial, so let's just let them despawn if we can't pick them up. So, we're going to pick whichever resource in here is the most appealing to me. I think that iron is going to be the most appealing. So, each one of these broken pieces, you can create a piece of gravel out of. You could smelt this gravel and get 1 ingot, but you can actually increase your output by using your hammer on the gravel again. So, we just used 2 pieces of gravel and ended up getting 9 pieces of crushed iron ore, which allows us to get 2 pieces of sand as well as an additional piece of crushed, right? So we do this again, and we end up getting 9 pieces of pulverized, and we get 2 blocks. So out of this, we ended up getting like an additional 0.25 something out of this. And then you can either put this through your smeltery if you're at that stage. You can put this through your furnaces in order to get a couple pieces of iron, or whatever you need to do. So I believe at this point, you guys may want to just consider diving into Tinker's Construct to upgrade your tools, and doing whatever else you want to do on your Skyblock. Remember to get some food, because if you die, or if your hunger gets to 0, you die. So, good luck, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a nice night, day, or whatever.